It's St. Patrick's Day, and I thought let's do something quick and fun and make some St. Patrick's Day Rolags on a blending board. So this blending board is actually one that I made, well, my father made, but we bought a square of carding cloth online. I will link to a source for that in the description below. And we just used, I think it was an old cabinet door, put a handheld in it, and stapled the carding cloth on. So really straightforward. Definitely a cheaper option if you're looking at getting into a blending board and wanted to save some money. Over here, I've got a pile of assorted merino, Falkland, a little bit of BFL. I've got some locks. Couldn't tell you what kind of locks they are, but I've got some locks. I've got some Firestar, and I've got this whole set of green fibery mix-ins from fibercraft.ca. So let's go ahead and load up my blending board and pull some Rolags off of it. So I'm going to start by laying down some of this, which is, I believe, the Falkland roving. And I'm just going to sort of catch it on the blending board. So I've never actually used a blending board before. I have, however, used my hand carders in the place of a blending board and made Rolags off my hand cards. So bear with me. It's funny, I had this blending board. We made it almost 3 years ago now, and I haven't actually pulled it out to use it. I guess I just haven't been spinning that much up until this year, and then also have preferred my drum carder typically. So there's some of that. Put some of this sort of neon-y green Falkland merino in here. And I should say the teeth are pointed up, so it's catching on the teeth as I pull the fiber down. But it's not blending, catching in deep. So sometimes you need Okay, that's a bit of a fun base. Let's put some Firestar on top of that. So then I've got this little brush here, and I'm just going to use it to sort of blend that fiber in / lock it into the teeth as if you were carding fiber together, right? And I can latch a little bit more on. That's just going to help me to get as much fiber into this board as I can and sort of deeper into the board. Oh my gosh, I just pulled some off. Sorry for the shaky cam. Now let's get some pops of color in here. This one here is from a very old braid. A little bit of yellow. Lash on some more of this green. And then a little bit of black. I'll try and keep my board in frame here. And let's see if we can't get some of these locks to stick in. Fiber is pretty pretty dense over here. So, I don't know. Looks relatively full. Let's grab a set of needles. Okay, so I'm going to grab a set of needles. Go one under the fiber, one over in opposite directions, and pull. This probably would be easier if I had a way to anchor the other end of my board. But you just pull like this, turn, 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 pull, 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 turn, 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 pull, 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 turn, 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 pull, 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 turn, 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 and spin it nice and tight. All right, we got a nice, tight, long, skinny Rolag. All right, let's keep going here, I guess. Number two, I'll show you. I've got the bottom of the board braced against my legs so that when I'm rolling down here, the board doesn't move as much anymore. And let's get this last one off. Alrighty. So that's number 6, I believe. Okay, so I've got 6. These are like what you might call puny Rolags because they're really quite tight. I rolled them off the knitting needles. And they look great, and they'll be probably a lot of fun to spin from. But I want to try to optimize and improve my situation. So I've got my board. And like I said, mine doesn't have a heel. It's just smooth on the back. Some will have like a lip here that you can hook on the back end of a table, or a stand so you can prop it up, or like a heel that some people will kind of grip between their thighs when they're using a blending board. That's the way that I've seen it done. So like I said previously, I just, let's see, change the angle on my camera here. I just butt the board up against my thighs when I was pulling off, so that the board wasn't moving everywhere. Now, I wasn't pleased with this brush for packing the fiber in. This is that little brush that came with my spinning wheel in that antique Fiber Arts haul video that I'll link up here. Some people thought this guy might be a flicker. Here is my flicker, and the flickers I've seen have all been wide like this. The teeth are sort of oriented the same way, but I didn't think it was a flicker just because of the sort of width that I've usually seen flickers. I've seen tools like this though with drum carders for cleaning them or for packing fiber into drum carders. And I do think it did a good job of blending the fiber on the board, almost like working hand cards together, but not so much packing the fiber in. I have seen videos, however, of blending boards with a second brush that has straight bristles for packing the fiber in. So I just went upstairs and grabbed an old hairbrush, and I'm going to use that this time to try and pack the fiber in a little bit better. The other thing that I did is I went out to my garage and cut 2 wooden dowels for rolling my Rolags. They'll be less flexible than those knitting needles were and thicker to produce a more open, loftier Rolag. So let's go back and may as well start using this waste fiber that came off of that brush. The other thing I'm going to do is not pack right to the edge, since those Rolags got a little bit gross. I don't know if gross is the word, but the Rolags were a little bit less tidy because I was overpacked on the edge of my carding cloth. That's pretty common for me. When I've taken spinning classes on using hand cards, I'm really bad for wanting to fill as much fiber as I can onto my hand cards. And the instructors usually tell you to just fill the center of your cards and leave space on either side. So I'm going to try and not overfill the outside inch on my blending board this time. And just start loading some fiber on. And you can see where it's sticking up. Now this time if I bring the brush through it, I can pack it in a little bit better with the brush. And again, sorry for the shaky cam. My overhead tripod is mounted to the table, so it kind of moves around a bit. So the brush does pack it in a little bit better than that sort of flicker comb was. Let's see what else I can put on here. Some of this one here. This is BFL. And I'm going to try not to pack it on quite so thick on top. Some of this more yellow kind of one. Also, the fiber that is in more of a sliver or a top with the fibers combed and parallel in orientation pack into it better, whereas this roving that this came from Custom Woolen Mills here in Alberta, that is a definite woolen prep, is sitting on top of the carding cloth and definitely needs to be sort of brushed or combed in. So let's put it on top and see if I can pack it in with this brush here. And yeah, like this brush is packing it in without taking quite so much off of the cloth. It's taking a little bit off, but not quite so much. So this brush is definitely more the way to go for packing my fiber in. Something with really long fine teeth probably would work even better. So the other thing I noticed when I was pulling those Rolags off is that my cloth is stapled at the top and bottom, but maybe needed to have been glued through the center because the cloth itself was lifting up away from the board in the center as I was pulling those Rolags. So something to think about, right? You know, and it's just pulling this much off, whereas that other tooth card was really pulling a lot off. So some of the Firestar. Sort of pack that fiber in. Yeah, this brush is working a lot better for packing that fiber in, for sure. Let's get some of those locks. Just opening them up. The more you open your locks up before you put them in, the more smoothly they'll be incorporated into your yarn when you spin it. I mean, you can leave them big and chunky, but if you really want to leave them big and chunky, you may as well just incorporate the locks manually as you spin. Some of this orange color we had in the last one. So yeah, with this little hairbrush, I am definitely getting a lot more fiber onto my board this time, being able to pack it down into the teeth a bit better. You know, as I fill up, I am pulling more off with my brush, but just does seem to be working nicer than that other brush was. Okay, so we're loaded up. Let's grab our wooden dowels this time, and again, I'm going to put one underneath my fiber, one on top. We will re-angle my camera, slide this right down up against my legs so the board's not going anywhere, and start pulling my fiber off. And yeah, that's a much nicer, more traditional Rolag right here. Let's go for the next one. Does take a little bit of strength actually to pull the fiber off, which goes to show you just how much grip adjacent fibers can really have on each other. Let's see. One out. There's the other one. So here's Rolag number 2. And to just lift that fiber up a bit so I have something to grab it. Try and get all the rest of this on this last one here. So it took a lot of wiggling to get this starting to move, but we're coming out now. So probably beware of over tightening on the wooden dowels, just because the wood grips the fiber a lot more than the knitting needles obviously do. So we got 3 much fatter Rolags this time. Let's see how much those ones weigh. So the first set of 6, I was able to get 20 grams, I think, right on the button on my blending board. And this set here, 24. So an additional 4, almost 5 grams, using the brush to comb that fiber into the board, as opposed to this guy, which was sort of lifting fiber up and out of the board. Let's do one more set, maybe 2 more sets. Let's see how far my fiber goes here. Because I didn't use any of this green, I don't think, on the first set, whereas I used a lot of this green on the first set, so this way we'll have kind of a transition when I spin this. And yeah, you can just see how the top versus the carded roving sits deeper into the teeth when you pull the fiber in. It's the same on your drum carder, except the drum carder has, you know, you're spinning it, and the liquor brush, like the liquor in roller, helps to kind of compact things into the teeth a little bit. But yeah, you can definitely get, and that makes sense. I mean, like a carded roving versus a combed top, this is already more dense to begin with. So those fibers are obviously going to be happier to sit more dense on the board. You know, I think that this will be the last set, unless I want to go diving back into my fiber stash for the other bits and colors. And this one, just for fun, I'm going to pull off as one giant Rolag. That way I'll have 3 sort of different sets of fiber, which is kind of fun, I think. Push it in deeper. All right, let's roll this one off. So when you pull it towards you, it drafts the fiber out. When you pull it up in the air, it lifts it out of the teeth. So if you want to keep it loose, alternate between up and towards, up and towards, and then the fiber is able to move more freely as opposed to pulling it against the teeth. Yeah, this one's coming off so smooth and light. So don't pull too parallel. Pull either at a 45 or go up and then towards you, up and then towards you, if that makes sense. So this time I have one super Rolag. Let's see how much fiber is in this one Rolag. So in this one by itself, I have 16 grams. So I didn't put nearly as much on the board. I was running out of fiber over here on the side, but I've done one very fat Rolag, a set of 3 sort of traditionally sized Rolags, and a set of 6 puny Rolags. I think I will go ahead and spin these. Might separate them off and do a 2-ply or something, but that will be a different video later. Thanks for spending some time with me today as I played with my blending board for the first time and made some St. Patrick's Day themed or colored Rolags that I will enjoy spinning in a future video. If you liked what you saw here in my yarn lab today, don't forget to make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on anything in the future. Hit that like button below so I know that you enjoyed this content, and come back for more experiments with fiber in my yarn lab.